Our church is made up of all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds. We've got young people, old people, people in the middle. We've got folks who've grown up all their lives in Salford and never really moved very far, and folks who've come from the other side of the world and to be part of Salford and to work here and to be part of us. And it's a real delight this afternoon to introduce you to Sunita B. So thank you for taking time to chat with me this afternoon, Sunita.
So my name is Sunita. I'm 24 years old. I'm a student nurse in my third year, hoping to graduate in January 2021, hopefully. But I'm originally from Cameroon, so it's in West Africa or Central Africa. It's kind of like at the junction of both, in a sense. And because I'm so horrible at geography, when people ask me, I say to them, you see the African map like this? Cameroon is here, Nigeria is here, so yeah. So that's how I describe it. And Cameroon, it is bilingual, so it's English and French because of like colonization, partition of Africa back then. So I grew up in the English speaking section, and so that's why my English is awesome. Woo. Okay, jokes aside, no, but Cameroon is really good. It's a bit mad at the moment because of a political unrest, but it's a really beautiful country. It's really beautiful. And I came to England when I was 17 years old. I was in school, so I finished my studies before I came over to join my mom and dad, who were already here. Well, that's their own story, but my dad was working. I think he was studying in another country, and I think he was an exchange student, so that's how he got to be in England, and so life went on and settled and everything. So I came to join them later on when I finished my studies. And we lived in Rochdale they lived there for longer because they were here before myself. But I lived in Rochdale with them for about 4 years till I moved to Salford because I'm in a university studying to be a nurse. So I moved here about 3 years ago, January 2018 to date. So yeah, that's how I got to be in Salford. And coming to Salford Elim, how did that happen? I remember I had this conversation with my mom when I was moving, and I said to her, I'm going to go to Audacious Church. It's not far from here. And she said to me, don't just go to a church because of the name. I used to go to Audacious from my church back in Rochdale because they usually had like events that they put up, and I was in the youth, so we would go there sometimes. So that's how I knew the church. And she said, don't just go to church because you know the name, because it's a big church or something like that. Find a local church that you can call home, where you can put down some roots and stuff like that. And so I thought, oh, okay. I did some research, and I thought I'm going to do some church hopping. So I'll go from church to church and then decide on which one is going to be the one for me. So I found Emmanuel Church on Langworthy, I think, and Salford Elim. And so Salford was the first one I went to. And when I walked in, I just knew it was yeah, that was the church for me. I think Natalie was at the door that day, just the welcoming and it was just good. And it also it reminded me of home, back home in Cameroon service, where you go for communion, wow. Where you go for communion and you go to the front, take it, and then go back to your seat. That's how we did it back home. So it was just kind of homely for me. It brought that memory back, and I felt, yes, this is the right place to be. So that's how I got to be in Salford, and I'm so glad I stayed because I made amazing friends, and I love that church. I love you guys. I love that place. I call it home. It's my home, and I'm so glad I got to be there. My faith became my own in a sense. Well, they call it personal relationship with Jesus, eh? But yeah, it became my faith, I think about 6-7 years ago. So I grew up in a Christian home, went to Christian school. I went to church, I would even open my Bible, Psalm 91, and put under your pillow for protection. Obviously, there's protection here. It's not like that, but you know what I mean. But I didn't know anything about having a personal relationship with God. I don't think I've heard that before. My grandma would try to teach us how to speak in tongues and stuff like that, but I didn't still know how about that. She was born again and everything, and she knew, but I didn't know. So when I came to England, my mom said, "You're going to youth," and I said no. She's like, "Yes, you are," and I said no. She's like, "Yes, you are," and I did. She's the mom. So I did go to the youth, and one of the days I remember they were sharing a testimony about God and things he had done, and it sounded so personal. They'd gone to this Christian camp called Faith Camp, and God had done so many miracles, and I thought, it is, yeah, what they're talking about him, like it's relationship, it's not just like there's a God somewhere. And I felt, oh, I need to know more about this. So I remember asking one of my youth leaders, "Can you please pray for me?" And because I want to give my life to God. And she was so excited. I didn't understand it then why she was, but now I do, because it's like, now I've experienced the love of God for myself. I know what she meant. So it's like when somebody comes to know the love of God for them, it's the best thing ever. So I am so glad I made that decision, and I thank God for that opportunity. And I got baptized the following year in 2014 to kind of make a public, I guess, commitment to say, "God, I'm for you now. So my life is not my own anymore. It's yours." So yeah, that's how my faith became mine. And following Jesus, walking with Jesus, has changed how I look at work, how I live. Before work, it's just like, you're going to work, you're going to do your job, get paid, and that's it, that kind of thing. But I loved my job, don't get me wrong. I loved my job. I was working in a nursing home before I started working in a hospital. I loved my job because I'm taking care of people, and it's really amazing. But then sometimes it's like, oh, you have to go to work. You're like, oh, this payday soon, so you're like, yay. But it kind of changed for me, as I walked with God. And I remember Colossians 3:23, that verse, it changed things for me. I'm not sure when, but it did, where it says, "Do all you do as unto God and not man." So all the work you do, everything you do it as unto God and not man. And that, it changes things. It's like, maybe probably you're working for the money, but now it's like, you're working for God. So it's not just going to work to fulfill your duties in that sense, but you're actually serving God by serving people. So it's like, oh, so where you might think, well, I'm just saying, well, sometimes where you're like, let me just slack a bit, but it's like, you can't slack. God is watching you. So yeah, that changed things for me. And I also remember reading something where, I think it was an interview with this lady, and I think her pastor or somebody asked her, "So how has following Jesus changed how you do your work?" I think she was a cleaner, rich people's home or something like that. And that was the background. And she said, "I now sweep under the carpets." I burst out laughing, but it's what it's literally Colossians 3:23. Is that when you're doing it for God now, it changes how you do it. You give your all to it. Obviously, we should do that anyway, but then it goes a step further when we're doing it for God. So yeah, it's changed how I look at work. And I work in hospital, Salford Royal. I want to be a nurse, so it's kind of giving me the experience I need. But I love my job. I love the fact that I can go out there and make a change in people's lives. I sing and dance on the ward sometimes, do silly things just to make my patients laugh, because sometimes you can't take the pain away per se, but you can help them through it. So I just love being able to, I guess, contribute in the tiniest of ways, and even by praying for them sometimes, because obviously you can't just go and say, "Oh, Jesus loves you." But yeah, you can pray for them and just say, "God, touch them," or "Please take this pain away," and stuff like that. So I love being able to do that. I love that I have this opportunity to do that, and and that I'm serving God as well, because I'm loving God by loving people. Again, how I view work and stuff. And that's one of my biggest joys about my work, is being able to do that. We are called to be disciples, to go and make disciples, to share God's love with people. And in a sense, I get to do that, I guess, double. Obviously, my job is to care for those people, but then I get to care for them people a step further by doing it God's way, doing it Jesus' way. That way you get frustrated so easy. You're like, you know what? Just, hold your peace, or things like that. So I really like it. My biggest challenge with work, it's two things. The first one, this one, to be fair, it's not so big in a sense, because it can't be helped. Like, sometimes you get patients who they might make some remarks. So I've had some racist remarks, but I push that aside. It's like, yeah, you call it out in a sense. It's like, or you say, oh, that's not very nice, and things like that. Or you patient to, they might hit you, but you can't hit them back. You think it, but you can't do it back. But it's just, sometimes it's just challenging. They might, because I feel, in as much as it's my job, I feel like it's not doing a favor, that's the wrong word. I'm doing a service, I'm helping you out, I'm, trying to make you feel better and stuff like that. So when you say things like that, or treat me the way you do, in a sense, it's like, do I really want to do this job? Just like give me the best of my care when you're treating me like this, you know what I mean? So it can be challenging sometimes, but you talk it out, you pray, and yeah, you keep going. And my other challenge is I kind of project fear onto myself sometimes. And my biggest fear now, as I study, as I work, and for the future, which has not even come yet, is what if I don't know what I need to know to be a good nurse to my patients? What if I don't see that they're in pain and act when I need to act? What if I don't see that they're deteriorating or stuff like that? So it really scares me, because these are people's lives, and I don't want to make a mistake in that sense. So that's a challenge I feel, and it's what I'll ask the church to pray for me about. Following Jesus sometimes in this culture, in a sense, in the world, it can be hard a bit. It can be a bit hard or challenging, and one of a challenge. Well, I guess another prayer request I would ask is to not give in, to not conform to this culture, to the pattern of the world, in a sense, to be able to stand and live for Jesus faithfully in today's world, no matter what happens, even if you're ridiculed or it's to be expected, Jesus this day. But sometimes, it can make you want to shy away from your faith or tell people you're a Christian. But I don't want that to happen. So I like prayer for that, to just be able to continue to stand firm in my faith, no matter what happens.
Sunita, I'm really glad you're part of our church. I'm glad that you found us.
Thank you.
You are exuberant, you are enthusiastic, and we love all that you bring to us. And we want to pray blessing on you for all that lies ahead for you. Thanks for doing that this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil.